Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for tuning in to watch our Q&A session. And I have the great pleasure of being joined by two head strength trainers over at Team DSM. And today they are going to help me and us go into a deep dive of velocity-based training and really understand what this new thing's all about. A little bit further about us. My name is Blaine Killen, and I am the CEO over at FitLift. And I am joined today by Nellis Koken and Jerome Backer, which are both strength training experts over at Team DSM. Now we'll jump into a bit of the questions, and I'm going to drop you off, Jerome. So, Nellis, let's just first start with, for those that don't know, tell us a little bit about Team DSM and your training philosophies.
Yes, thanks for the nice introduction, Blaine. As you already mentioned, both you and me are strength training within Team DSM, a big pro cycling team, 54 riders out on the road with a men's program, women's program, and development program. And we're really searching the competitive edge into innovation of technologies with a data-driven approach. Obviously, strength training is one of the key parts in guiding and training our athletes towards their specific goals. That can be more sprint focused, more climber focused, but anyway, it is a big part of injury prevention and optimization of their performance on the bike. And therefore, we're seeking also for that data-driven approach. And there we found in FitLift a perfect match to make sure that we get this quantitative intrinsic data of our athletes rather than doing estimations of the load and the intensity of their strength sessions. So that is where we will dive in more deeply today about the way we use this technology and how we developed together with the guys of FitLift the technology to be able to measure and collect this data.
Great, thank you. We've all heard about this term, velocity-based training, but to some in the audience, they're just learning about it or they want to add to their knowledge. So, Nellis, why don't we go a little bit into what exactly is velocity-based training and tell us why is it important?
Yeah, as already mentioned, we want to develop as a team. What we found is that it's really hard to measure the exact load of strength sessions for athletes, while with all other aspects, nutrition, power data, heart rate data, all that kind of facts, we all have it clearly visible, and we can optimize our training programs by using all that data and combine it into new algorithms for training. And that's actually where the last year's velocity-based strength training came in. So that is a way to quantify the load and intensity of our strength training sessions. And by implementing that in the whole puzzle of performance, we can actually make next steps in optimizing our overall training programs.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, data is crucial, in today's world. And I think we've seen by our research that it helps to decrease injury and also helps your athletes, get to that next level, get past that plateau. So we are happy that as FitLift, we can provide that data. Jerome, thank you very much. Nellis, I'm gonna drop you off. I'm going to bring in Jerome, which is gonna talk a little bit more about the details. How's it going, Jerome?
Thanks, I'm good.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us again. Welcome back to the spotlight, and we'll start off with your first question of how has velocity-based training helped advance your athletes?
Yeah, so I think Nate has already briefly touched on what velocity-based strength training is, and it really enables us to dive deeper into how the athlete is feeling, how the athlete is progressing, and how the athlete is also adapting to a session. So Traditionally, you would use strength training methods as, for example, percentage of your repetition maximum, and go based on that. But there's quite a lot of flaws if you look at the research that's being done in the recent years. And I think velocity-based strength training is a super good method to actually counter all those flaws, or at least a lot of them, as it really allows us to quantify how the athlete is feeling. So if you, for example, have an athlete doing a session with a given weight, and he or she did the same session a few weeks ago, for a few months ago, you can actually compare those sessions and see how did the athlete progress. Did the athlete get better? Did the athlete actually get worse? And why did he or she get worse? Is he or she fatigued, or is he or she maybe overtraining, or things like that? It really puts numbers on there, which we weren't capable of doing that with previous strength training methods.
Sure. Yeah, that's thank you. That's great that we can help out, and that this new concept is really proving fruitful for your team. With that being said, let's go into just a little bit more detail as into what data is really crucial to correctly perform velocity-based training.
Yeah. So if you look at recent research that's been done, it's mainly about the acceleration that you can generate as an athlete. So how fast can you actually propel or lift a barbell in the concentric phase, so actually in the pushing phase, or getting away from gravity. How fast you can do that really says a lot on how hard you are working and how good as a strength athlete you are. Two main values are often described in the literature, and that's mean propulsive velocity and peak velocity. So mean propulsive velocity is actually the part of acceleration. If you take a squat, for example, you start at the bottom, you finish at the top. How fast do you accelerate? And the mean acceleration, so the mean propulsive velocity, really tells you a lot on how hard you're working as an athlete. But on the same hand, you have peak velocity, so that's the actual peak within that acceleration phase, and that roughly tells the same idea: how hard as an athlete are you working, how much are the muscles actually struggling with the weight that you are lifting, and that data is really crucial and reflects how hard an athlete's working. Within the team, we, for example, use that within a set. How much of the velocity do you lose in a single set? So, for example, you do 8 reps in a set, 8 repetitions. You start with a rep that's probably your fastest one, as you're still the freshest, and then how much do you decline within a set? That really tells a lot on how hard you're working, but also what adaptations can you expect. So are you more endurance-based training? Are you more hypertrophy-based training? Do you want to generate power? You can really emphasize on the goals that you want way more than we were used to with percentage-based strength training.
Sure. So it sounds like velocity-based training, this data that it provides is basically, it's the next level of analysis for technical execution and consistency during weight training.
Yeah, definitely.
So, our app FitLift, for those of you that don't know, FitLift is partnered with Team DSM to help their athletes with strength training, and they have been crucial in helping us really develop our product and giving us feedback crucial for really advancing our company. But we've also both Nellis and Jerome have been using our product, and hopefully they've been seeing a lot of gains. So let's just go into how does FitLift assist with velocity-based training?
Yeah, so the FitLift app all brings it together. So you can have a lot of knowledge about how fast someone should be lifting, but the FitLift app really enables us to use all the data, collect all the data, review all the data, and plan further based on that data. So I think to give a bit of a picture of how we're using it, it gives direct feedback, the FitLift app. So we're actually, when someone's doing a strength session, they open up the FitLift app, they place their tablet or their phone in front of them, and then during a lift, they can actually see straight after a rep how fast was that rep. So they actually have a trigger on where to focus on. They know where they're heading, and they get direct feedback during the session. I think that's a really crucial part of velocity-based strength training, is that you're not only using it as a post-hoc analysis to review afterwards what could have I done better, but to actually use it and to actually get more out of your session that you are doing at the moment. I think that's where FitLift really, really steps in. But next to that, it also, of course, provides us with the post-hoc analysis, see what did go good, what could have been better. And based on that, it really helps us to get more out of it and to get better performance at the end.
So it sounds like, it provides the during set feedback that you want, the after set feedback to help you get better on the next one during a session, and then all of the details required after a workout to really go and analyze things in more detail.
Yeah, definitely.
For the next one. That's great. Yeah, thank you. We hope to continue to build together and continue to deliver that value. As a last question, and before we wrap up, can you just tell us how else has FitLift helped advance your strength training program?
Yeah. So as Team DSM, as a cycling team, we have cyclists all over the world. So Nelis or me are not always there to guide everyone physically and to provide everyone with technique feedback or whatever you can think of during a session that a coach or a trainer does. And FitLift takes over part of that role. So FitLift actually can measure the technique of someone. So for example, with a squat, how much do you lean to a side? It all collects the data and it also already translate it for you to actually use it and see what you could do better. So what I really like about FitLift app is that it provides you with a grade of how good was your technique during your session. And athletes and cyclists, our cyclists can directly use that to get better in the next session, to prevent injury that way. And that's I think a unique solution when there's no strength trainer available.
Yeah, thank you for all the kind words. We really appreciate everything, and I think we've all learned a lot as an audience. So we're gonna wrap up here, and we just wanted to say thank you for taking your time today and joining us for this QA session. Trainers in the audience that are viewing this, we hope that you learned a lot and that we could at least add to your knowledge of velocity-based training. We would really appreciate if you want to use our technology. Reach me directly at blaine@fitlift.com. We launch in end of July, but if you would like to start using our program and platform before then, we're more than happy to send you a few devices. Lastly, if you are into cycling or racing in general, or even sports and want some entertainment, Team DSM has the Giro d'Italia coming up this weekend, so please watch them and cheer them on. I know that we definitely are rooting for them. And then lastly, Jerome, Nellis, you've been great. Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for having us.